Hi, I want to thank everybody who has been showing up for this series, and for those of you who have listened after it was recorded live. Please keep your emails and posts coming because I really learn a lot from you, whether you're a client or not. So hearing about the experiences that you have done, things like stopping soda or changing your diet overnight when you have a recent when you learn of a recent diagnosis. I mean, that's so huge and empowering. And I also want to uh, send some love out to Millicent. She made a change already just listening to this series last night, and I'm sure that she feels very empowered about the actions that she took. So my goal here through this series was to enlighten you about how junk food affects us internally, the brain, our lives, our behaviors, and also some simple things of what you can do for yourself, things that are easy and fast. I am all about easy and fast, not only in my private work, but in what I teach with my classes. Because we have to be honest, particularly with this junk food issue, we do have a very serious problem in our country. And one of the things that we notice in other countries, when our brand or our way of eating infiltrates those countries, they also start developing the same health patterns and illness patterns, and a lesser quality of health as we do, in our country. So I want to really bring this home to you. Big Food, which is the name of, it's kind of like a name that's been dubbed to the food industry. They are not your nutritionist. Big Food does not care about your health. Big Food is not your healer. I'm Sanna Carapellotti. I'm your soulful strategist. I'm also a yoga instructor and a heart math coach. So, stress eating is one of the things that I do in my work, and there are three other categories. I work with stress, trauma, and grief, mother issues, performance and academic stress, as well as surgery and recovery. So you can look at my website, sannacarapellotti.com, and if you want to take a look at this upcoming class that I'm doing on junk food termination, you can also check that out. I will put the link up there. It's from hurttohealed.com/junk food. So um, so I want to recap. So this is day 3 of 5 days of empowered over junk food. So I actually kind of found these 4 R's today while I was thinking about what I was going to say. So here's what we talked about yesterday. And if you didn't catch that, it's about how we get pulled in internally through and how junk food literally rewires our brain. Okay, takes charge of the reward center of the brain to make us anticipate the relief that we're going for, and returns us to the product. So this is the ultimate goal of the food industry, for you to return, because they know very clearly that these patterns, once they get set in the brain, okay, and you created them by repeating it. It's not a blame thing, but it's how the brain works. But I'm also here to tell you that you can unchange it. Okay, you can change your brain, because we are literally in charge of what happens in our brains. So today, what I want to talk about is stress and the wanting. So what is this wanting that we want? Okay, whenever we sit down or we hyper eat, which is losing track of the amount of food that we're eating, overeating, and eating um, for stress. Okay, what is that? We're looking for relief. Okay, and it's different for everybody. Why I might sit down with a bag of chips is going to be different in terms of what you would need. Maybe you need comfort. Maybe you're upset about something that happened. Maybe you are literally eating your boss because you're so stressed. So hyper eating literally puts us in the moment. We forget about the future. We can discard the past, and it puts us right in that easy chair or in the front seat of our car or in bed, and our attention is right there in that moment on taking in this food and working towards this relief. Okay, and that's a temporary, or I'm sorry, also temporary energy to focus on a task. For example, if you're at work and you notice that every day around 2:30 that you have this slump, okay, well, and you go for the vending machines or that person in the office who happens to have a bowl of M&Ms on the desk. So isn't that what we want? And that is to live in the moment, to be energized and to be focused. The problem is these foods grab our attention. And I talked in depth about that on the live yesterday. So, I mean, to be alive in the moment, to breathe and to just rest and to let go is enormous. It's what we all want. But I'm here to tell you there are less destructive ways to do that. And that's what I teach. You don't know that you can clear your head in less than 30 seconds. You don't know that there are certain breath techniques that will literally begin to cool down the limbic system as well as to start shifting the brain in literally less than a minute. Okay, hyper eating junk food has been likened to value. I mean, that was shocking when I read that. Pain reduction, okay, as long as, but different side effects. Okay, now the interesting thing is I have a friend in the South who has been sugar-free since last June, and she has rheumatoid arthritis, and she is now 90% free of pain just by eliminated sugar. She didn't change anything else in her diet. Okay, so let's talk about stress. Okay, so stress is very much a part of our lives. We don't like it, but the key here is that we can learn how to manage it in healthier ways. In this work, in the healing work that I do, and so there's the healing piece, but nobody teaches us how to be well. And sometimes, to add a little caveat to that, we also are born into families where there are parameters around happiness and well-being. Okay, so we're not taught how to manage ourselves. And I remember many years ago, I was standing in my apartment. My dad had just passed away. I was about to become, I was a labor coach for this for this teenager who obviously was pregnant, and she had no support system. And I was having panic and anxiety. And I remember saying, I'm a therapist. I don't know how to manage myself. And I made a commitment to myself that I would learn strategies and techniques to not only help myself, but to help other people. And that's what I do in my work. So regarding stress, one of the things that was really difficult for me many years ago, when I realized that I was really in charge of that my beliefs, what I think, and how my environment supports how I think, and what I perceive create my stress. Okay, especially around, and with this focus on eating, I want you to think about, what do you think about certain foods? What do you think about this time in the day when you're struggling and you go for junk food? Because keep in mind, our eating habits are generational. You might notice that some of the patterns that you have, or some of the things that you do, you are mimicking or mirroring your mom or an aunt or a grandmother. So these eating habits can become entrenched in our brains, okay, when we're young, when there's family stress or trauma, or somebody dies tragically, there's divorce, there's abuse, or long-standing conflict. One of the things that has been clearly shown in the research, and you can look it up, it's called the ACE study, ACE, is that the more markers you have during childhood of abuse, separation from mom, hospitalizations, medical trauma, sexual assaults, and so on and on and on. There were 10 markers. Addictions, that that there's a tendency to be more addicted to food, alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs. So one of the things, I used to do a lot of weight loss in my work, but then when I realized this, and I started to notice this pattern of people would lose the weight, but then they would kind of spiral back into it. I said, well, what is the issue here? So I started looking at their lives and started to see that there was these markers through childhood, because what it basically says is, it's hard for me to live here and to breathe here. See, and junk food gives us that ability to inhabit our bodies, but it's only temporary. So I wanted to just read this. This is on the page for the class that I'm doing on Saturday. And I wrote this out, and I think it says a lot about what I'm saying here today. So as human beings, we live stressed, fragmented lives, and we suffer through the effects of varying degrees of struggle and trauma. Okay, we have relatively few healthy coping skills for managing what happens in our lives. We're taught to internalize it, to suppress it, to suck it up, or to just say, it'll be fine. Oh, I'll figure it out. Well, the food industry has crafted these convenient solutions to guarantee instant, immediate relief from the stress that you feel. They create these just right sugar, salt, fat, synthetic combinations of foods to relieve you of your pains. Now, I have to agree, it's very thoughtful, but they keep you as a customer and also keep you spiraling, seeking this release, because what happens is you also get to this threshold, and all of a sudden, a piece of cake is now not enough. And those of you who listen to the live next week, I was here many years ago. So I want to show you something that you can do to help yourself that's actually very powerful. I did it myself. And here's the goal with everything that I teach, is when you raise this experience up to consciousness, okay, where you know what you're doing, you're calling yourself out, then what happens is that over a while you start applying these strategies that are really fast acting, change your nervous system as well as your brain. Then what happens then is, after a while, you don't have to do those anymore. You actually start establishing these healthy cycles. See, before, I used to go out and I would be so nervous about what I was going to do and how much I had to eat and who I had to eat for and what I was eating. But see, now I know who I am as an eater. So I go and I make the decisions are subconscious. They are in my system. So I behave in that way. Okay, so I'm going to show you something so that you can, whenever you notice this fear, okay, take a couple of breaths. Okay, number one, do this before you go somewhere. Maybe you go to your mother's house, and every time you go, there's so much conflict, or you just feel this tension in the household, and the only thing that you can do is go away and eat, or there's a birthday party at work, or there's a buffet that you're going to, or a holiday meal. It could be literally anything. So before it happens, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to take a couple of breaths, like 3 to 5. The simplest way to begin to reduce your stress is to elongate the exhale. So you basically inhale and exhale to empty. Do that until you start noticing that you're a little bit calmer, because that will start to shift the nervous system a bit. Okay, so once you're there, I want you to think about, so you have this event here in front of you. So let's imagine, okay, like imagine if you went to this event and you were deliciously disciplined. You stayed in charge. You said yes, you said no to certain things. You made good decisions. You stopped your body from launching and grabbing food. Okay, so how would that be for you? Let's say you've already gone to this event, okay, and here you are, and you're walking back to your car, or you're headed back home. What would that be? I mean, how would you feel? Free, thrilled, happy, joyful, in charge, confident? You see, if you project forward, you see, then bring that part of you to the party, the part of you that already succeeded. Because keep in mind, your body, your brain is neutral. Okay, it only does what you tell it. So if you walk into your mother's house, into the party, and you're already successful, then chances are you are going to establish that as a way of approaching it. And then the cool thing that happens is you're going to get towards the end of it, and you will have already behaved, because it's imprinting. See, and then you are essentially rewiring your brain. Okay, so I want to thank you for attending today. And excuse me, if you have a problem and you feel like you need some help with it, that's what this class does. You're going to literally bring your food to class. And when you leave, I guarantee that you will not only be done with it, but you will have a lot of resolution around this issue. So you can take a look at, I will post that up there. And so Be Done With It is the name of the class. It's a very powerful 3-dimensional experience. We may be doing childhood table trauma to clear, we'll be tapping using EFT, we'll be projecting images, doing emotional freedom, hypnotherapy and so forth. And these are the things that are going to empower you against this stuff, because you can get to the point where you are so empowered, so in charge, by rewarding yourself, getting the relief that you want and how you want to get it in healthy ways that are not destructive, so that you can then return to yourself. So again, be in charge, stay in charge. You are the ultimate person in charge of everything that goes into your mouth. Eating is the most powerful expression of self-love and care. I love you all. Thank you so much for coming. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'll be happy to answer them. And perhaps I'll see some of you Saturday at the workshop. We have a couple seats left. Thank you so much. Love you.